Welcome to Recap Today. Explain movie to a 2015 British fantasy film called Mooley Moon and the Incredible Book of Hypnotism. Before we start, be aware there are spoilers as the movie begins. Lightning strikes over Hardwick House Orphanage. Molly has lived there her whole life. Miss Aderson runs the orphanage with an iron fist. No fun is allowed. Molly is hiding in the laundry room reading. Her friend Rocky collect her for a midnight feast. Miss Adderstone catches them all and Molly takes responsibility. She is punished by having toilet cleaning duty all week and the others have a 6 p.m. curfew and are only allowed to eat fish soup 3 times a day at mealtime. Everyone complains about the food and Edna, the cook, is offended. Molly is looking at a leaflet advertising a talent contest. The kids discuss who is going to win. The nice teacher Mrs. Trinkleberry takes the younger ones away for a nap and the older kids start to argue and tease Molly and Rocky. Miss Adderstone storms in and yells at everyone. She rips the leaflet out of Molly's hand and puts her on dishwashing duty for the week. Rocky tries to help her in the kitchen and sings a song. She encourages him to enter the talent contest, but he says that he can't sing in front of strangers. Molly offers to sing with him, but Miss Adderstone interrupts and tells them that neither of them is leaving. The only way out is to be adopted, and she can't imagine anyone wanting to adopt them. As Miss Trinkleberry leaves for the night, she comforts Molly and assures her that her parents loved her very much before they died. The next day, the kids are doing a cross-country run. Molly goes to the library instead and sits down to read a book. Back at the orphanage, Rocky wonders where Molly has got to. A man named Nakban comes into the library and asks Lucy, the librarian, about a book on hypnotism, but she tells him that they have been unable to find it. He says that the only copy is in this library. Molly is startled by the commotion and suddenly discovers the book underneath the radiator. She opens it, but as Nakman barks at Lucy, Molly drops the book. Nagman sees that Molly has it, but she runs away. He asks some old ladies outside where the road that she runs down leads to. Back at the orphanage, Molly reads the book, which tells her that only a few have the gift. If one has that gift, then he should try to put himself into a trance. She attempts defeat, but is interrupted by Miss Adderstone's mean dog Petula. Molly attempts to hypnotize Petula and manages to make friends with her. Suddenly Rocky enters. He is disappointed that she forgot to help him with practice. They leave for dinner. Nakman arrives at the orphanage and notices a sign for help is needed. Molly goes to the kitchen and offers to help Edna. She hypnotizes the cook into being her friend and tells her to cook spaghetti for dinner instead of fish soup. Miss Adderstone bursts into the dining room, yelling at the kids for making a noise and tries to scold Edna. Miss Trinkleberry applauds the fact that this is the first nutritious meal the kids have eaten in years. Miss Adderstone produces a letter from a couple looking to adopt one child. All the children will be presented, but Miss Adderstone tells them that Rocky will be the child to be adopted later. Miss Trinkleberry tells Miss Adderstone that she promised that Molly and Rocky would be adopted together. She threatens to go to the governing board. Nakman is on the internet when he receives a call from his mom. He tells her that he plans to steal some jewelry using hypnotism. He just needs to get the book from Molly first. She seems disappointed in her son. The next day, he goes to the orphanage again and discovers Molly's room. He is confronted by Miss Adderstone but tells her that he is here for the job. Molly continues to study the book and finds that angry people are difficult to hypnotize. Miss Adderstone has missed Trinkleberry changed some light bulbs and engineers an accident. Everyone watches. The ambulance leaves the next day. Molly goes to see Miss Adderstone and manages to hypnotize her. She tells her that she will be nice to everyone and goes on to tell her that the couple should adopt a girl named Hazel instead. As Molly checks her own records, she notices that she was abandoned at birth and left on the doorstep at the talent show. Rocky is waiting for Molly to arrive. Molly notices the time and rushes to the talent contest but is too late. The couple arrives and makes a donation to the orphanage. Miss Adderstone rushes to get Hazel ready, but Rocky approaches the couple first and introduces himself. They choose him and he leaves with them just in time for Molly to see him get in their car. He is angry that Molly wasn't there for him. Another girl tells Molly that she must go and look for Rocky and bring him back before Christmas. Molly is confronted by Nachman, who demands the book, but she kicks him in the leg and escapes with some help from Petula, who Molly then takes with her. Using her new hypnotic skills, she takes a bus to London and checks into a fancy hotel room. Rocky is in his new bedroom composing a song. Nachman is searching for Molly as she discovers Rocky's new address. The kindly hotel manager reveals to Molly that she knows that she is an orphan and instructs her not to hypnotize any more of her staff. Rocky is having breakfast when Molly rings on the doorbell. They hug and she tells him what has happened, but he tells her that he isn't going anywhere. He closes the door on her back. At the hotel, Molly is despondent. She watches the Charlie Cooper show where a celebrity named Davina Natal is being interviewed. She reveals that she is auditioning singers and dancers for her new show. Molly decides to go, but Davina is in a bad mood and cancels the auditions. Molly manages to sneak in and hears Barry, the director, practicing the music. She hypnotizes him into thinking that she should replace Davina and he makes a phone call. Davina is removed and Molly replaces her in the show, which is renamed Marvelous. Molly has a makeover and appears on the Charlie Cooper show. Afterwards, she is mobbed by the crowds who are excited to see her. She is practicing her choreography and singing, but she is bad at it. Davina seems to be the only one who hasn't fallen under her spell and tells her that the audience will realize that she is bad. Molly continues studying the book in order to learn how to hypnotize a crowd across the city. Rocky is missing Molly. Meanwhile, Nachman continues his plan to steal the jewelry but realizes that he needs the book to do it. Molly receives a phone call from the orphanage and asks after Miss Trinkleberry. When the kids ask Molly when she plans to return, she takes another call and has to leave. Marvelous is sold out. Molly arrives to crowds of fans. Nachman's mother is watching her arrival on the television and notices that she is carrying the hypnotism book. She calls her son to let him know. Rocky's new parents discuss a boarding school for him, but he overhears their plans. Later at dinner, they ask him to perform for their friends, but he is nervous. His father tries to push him into it, but he throws the guitar at him and says that he will not go to boarding school. The show starts and Molly walks out on stage, starting to hypnotize the audience both in the studio and at home. The show starts and the audience loves it. Davina enters the studio after dinner. Rocky is scolded by his parents for letting them down. He climbs out of the window and down the drainpipe. Nachman is watching the show from the wings, wearing some special glasses which prevent him from being hypnotized. Meanwhile, Davina is snooping in Molly's dressing room and discovers that Molly is an orphan and finds the hypnotism book. She figures out what has happened just as Nachman walks in. They struggle for possession of the book but are interrupted by a security guard. Nachman hides on the balcony and drops down into a dumpster. Just then he receives a phone call from his mother, who tells him that she has heard of a group who plan to steal the jewelry tomorrow. She instructs him to then steal it from them using the hypnotism. When he admits that he still doesn't have the book, she tells him to kidnap Molly instead, as she already knows how to do it. The show ends and Molly receives a standing ovation as she leaves the stage. Barry proclaims her a star. She tells reporters that fame won't change her and also says that her parents couldn't make it tonight. Afterwards, she admits to herself that she cheated. All those people don't really love her. She misses Rocky. As she returns to her dressing room, she finds Davina, who confronts her with the truth. Molly tells her that she wanted what she had but doesn't want it anymore. Davina gives her the book and Molly decides to go home to the orphanage. On her way out, she convinces Barry to have Davina replace her in the show. Suddenly, Petula runs away and finds Rocky while Molly tells Rocky about the book. Nachman entices Petula away with a treat. An assistant hands her a note telling her to meet Nachman alone at dawn. If she wants to see Petula again, Rocky says that he will go with her and hide. Nachman pulls Molly into a van and tells her what she has to do. The thieves arrive and steal the jewels. Molly stands in front of the van containing the jewelry and hypnotizes the thieves. Nachman drives the van away while Rocky hides on top. He then locks Molly and Petula in a cell. However, Nachman is unable to access the cage in the back of a van as it requires iris verification. Suddenly a car drives up to the van and Nachman is knocked down by some masked assailants. One of them is his mother, who is in league with the thieves. She approaches Molly and tells her that she should be able to access the cage with her hypnotic skills. Molly does manage to open it, but then she is locked back in the cell with Nachman. Molly realizes that she is no better than Nachman as they are both cheats. Suddenly Rocky appears and moves some mirrors so that Molly can relock the cage. When Nachman's mother and the other thief are in the van, she uses some binoculars to maximize her powers and the door swings closed. They are left in traffic square for the police to apprehend while Nachman takes Molly and Rocky to the train station so that they can return to the orphanage. They ask what Nachman is going to do now, but he doesn't know and reveals that he has no friends. They tell him that they are his friends now, and he can visit them anytime. Molly and Rocky arrive home carrying Christmas presents for everyone. Molly tells them that London was amazing, but she missed everyone. She gives out the presents as the kids cheer. It is revealed that Miss Adderstone stays in her room these days and Miss Tinkleberry is looking after everyone now. Molly goes to see Miss Adderstone, who is no longer hypnotized but understands that she has been horrible to the children. She reveals that when Molly was left at the orphanage, she was left with a locket and a note. Her mother wanted to keep her but really couldn't. Molly returns to the library and meets Lucy, who tells her that she left the book for Molly to find. Molly asks who Lucy is, but she replies that she is just the librarian. They shake hands before Molly turns to go home. Lucy tells her that it wasn't the hypnotism that made her special, it was her back. At the orphanage, the kids asked Miss Tinkleberry to stay and look after them. She agrees as Rocky sings a song in front of the Christmas tree. Thank you for watching.